Creating a new TCG in 2025 is no easy feat, and Riftbound, the League of Legends trading card game, has its work cut out for them. So today, I want to talk about things that I think they're doing really well, getting ahead of the game and approaching some challenges where I think they're going to see a good amount of success. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to go over one major critique that I have, where I think Riftbound could be getting ahead of its competition and might instead be lacking a little bit behind. All of that in today's video. If you like conversations like this in the TCG world, make sure you hit the subscribe and like button down below, because for a small channel like mine, it helps more than you can possibly imagine. If you want to support further than that, you can join the channel membership. It's $5 a month. It helps support everything that I do here. A massive shout out to all of the channel members that are down in the channel membership. They're active in the Discord. Thank you guys so much for helping me do what I love. All right, let's talk some Riftbound. Now, the Riftbound TCG hits kind of close to my heart. I've played a good amount of League of Legends, although I will say I've never been any good at League of Legends. So the idea of a TCG merging those two aspects of my life is kind of exciting. But my red flags go up anytime there's a new TCG. For those who have been around the space for as long as I have, the better part of 2 decades, you realize you see a lot of card games come and go. And for a card game to show up and stick around, it's going to need to do a couple of things. And the first is going to be a focus on gameplay, getting people to play your game. More and more card games than ever have tried to mimic the Pokemon trading card game model, where you come out as a collectible, you try to get hyper expensive and get the hype to drive the sales of your product, but there's really no staying power. After you've looked at that PSA 10 piece of shiny for so long, you just don't care about it anymore. You don't build an attachment and a connection with these things, and it goes by the wayside. And for all of Riftbound's potential collectability, and we'll get into that in this video, make sure you are sticking around for that, but it is seeming to be a game that focuses on exactly that. The game. People want to play the game. They're doing gameplay showcases with awesome members of the League of Legends community. Heck, Travis Gafford is out there playing some Riftbound. I'm a big Travis Gafford fan. He's also a Magic fan, so it was really cool to see Travis getting out there and playing some Riftbound. And for all of, to their credit, they're doing a great job getting people playing this game. Also, the game system looks like what you need a game system to be in 2025. It's got the ability to pick up the game very quickly, but take a good amount of time to master it. And it seems to take things a step further than something like Lorcana did, where there is a bit more depth. Now, I'm not throwing any shade to competitive and aggressive Lorcana players out there, but Lorcana on its surface is a game with very little interaction, and because of that, you do see people kind of not getting bored of it, but moving on. But the beauty of that is so many people can pick up and play Lorcana. I have played games with family members that have had no interest in TCGs, and for that reason, the simplicity can be beautiful. Riftbound looks like it checks 2 of those boxes. It'll be interesting to see when the competitive meta starts getting their hands on decks, but I am excited to see how that goes. But we did mention collectability a bit, and while yes, the playing card game, the trading card game must be playable. You have to have that foundation. Look no further than Magic the Gathering. People care about Magic the Gathering collectability because of the play, because of the connection you have to the thing. And Riftbound is looking to expand on collectability, and they do seem to be doing a great job in that arena. I like the Riftbound collectability model. For those who don't know, it is broken down into collectible chase and then functional rarity. So that's what I'm going to call it. I don't know if this company has an official statement. I know functional rarity is the actual rarity of the cards in the pack, and then you have something called the chase, or I think it's the overnumbered that it's called, and what that means is these are copies of cards and different alt versions of cards versus actual playable functionality. And that's important, because if you hide too much of your functional playable game behind high chase, low availability, high rarity cards, then you get a situation where your player base can't take that next step. It's easy to get the starter deck, it's easy to sit down and play and chew on these cards, but it's hard to get out and play at an actual event in a game store against people who you don't know, who you might have a handshake deal on power level of decks, because you're just going to get stomped. Look at something like the Flesh and Blood trading card game, a pretty good game system that took off right away, but had the problem of functional playability and functional rarity versus chase cards plaguing the competitive meta, and a game that lost all collectability, that has completely gone by the wayside, is left with what is probably a much smaller player base than it should have had based on its early startings. Riftbound is fighting that with this functional rarity versus the collectability, and how that's being handled is you have functionally rare cards that show up a certain amount in a pack, so your more powerful cards will be rarer, they will command a higher price tag, and this is normal across TCG models. But your most rare cards, your highest level of chase cards, your variants, your bling, if you will not be functionally unique cards. They will be alternate versions of other cards in the game. And often we've seen in the scenario that this doesn't work. This has actually been something that has broken games in the past because, well, people just don't want those chase variants. But much like other games tied to things in the physical space, Riftbound has the advantage where you care about the champion, you care about the League of Legends IP, you care about this moment in the story that could tie you to that heavily chased card. And for that reason, you can have a lower version of that card for player, and you have a preset group of collectors, people out there that are going to want the overnumbered, the high level of rarity card. I'll put up the rarities on the screen if I remember to do it here. If I don't, listen, it's online. I'm sorry, I have my own editor. I don't do great at these things. But all in all, I think that collectability not being tied to the rarity of the card for gameplay is vastly important, especially for something that could get so wildly out of control. We saw this early in the Disney Lorcana days. This is why I had Disney Lorcana on the mind recently, where a lot of the rare cards were often being collected by Disney collectors, and it was hard to get their hands on it, hard to play games, but Disney had the simplicity in the casual audience where that didn't matter. I wonder if Riftbound, being a competitive focused, behind a competitive focused IP that is just starting to expand its story with things like Arcane in the past 5 years, where you're going to see the same breakdown and maybe a different effect based on how these overchase cards are handled. And hey, overnumbered. These overnumbered cards are really exciting. I love the fact that they are doing not a full set of previews on the cards. Now, we won't get the cards here in America first. I believe the cards drop overseas in China, I believe, first. So all the overnumber cards will be revealed before we get our hands on the product. But the idea that these secret cards, these overnumbered card outside of your random set, and if you have 298 cards, it goes beyond that to card number 307 or whatever is not going to be in the initial set list. So we're going to have to open them to find them. That sounds very exciting. And there's other very exciting things that they're doing, but I think this is where they fall a little bit short. It has been teased and previewed that there will be signature cards in the overnumbered card variant. So you can get, I believe it's been a Volibear and a Yasuo, where the signature of the artist of that card is on the card. Now, preliminarily, this does look like a stamped signature, which I'm not the biggest fan of. It would have been really cool to have them even just a sticker autograph, have them sign a certain number of subsets of cards would have been much cooler. But even having this variant is very exciting, but it did make me realize that there's a ton of opportunity for Riftbound here to tie the trading card game to the physical world. Creators of the champions, designers at Riot, famous League of Legends players. It was in my Discord, which there'll be a link for down in the comment section below, where someone suggested a Faker jersey patch card. And I thought, oh my gosh, to have a classic Faker champion with a jersey patch in there from a moment of his career would be iconic. It would be insane. It would take us to sports card levels of collecting in some senses. And while I don't know if you have to go that far, now there's logistics between pack thickness and weight, etc. I understand that. It is worth noting that there's an opportunity to tie these cards to your favorite League of Legends moments, to your favorite League of Legends personalities. And that does feel to be a bit lacking here, to be able to connect those to their physical counterparts or to something in the physical world would really drive home the emotion that you feel for the cards that you're opening. It would drive home the chase. It would drive home the connectability that you feel to this new collectible, and I think would be a way to jump Riftbound off the ground. And heck, I wouldn't be surprised to see them do that sometime in the near future, but it is worth noting it's a much harder logistical challenge getting these cards signed, getting these artifacts, getting people to have them take pictures of them, send them to you, or whatever it is, redemption cards, whatever it might be. It's a much bigger logistical challenge. I do think it could take Riftbound to the next level. If you think there's a cool piece of Riftbound collectability that they could do tying the physical to the trading card game, let me know in the comment section below, because I am all for these sweet ideas. All in all, I'm really excited for Riftbound. I think between playability and the way they're handling collectability, it's going to be a lot of fun. I actually put an order in for some foreign language Riftbound boxes to try to get them here early, and we will be doing some Riftbound openings. Channel members, you can feel free to reach out to me once I find out what I'm getting as far as product. We'll see if we can hook you guys up with a discount, as we always do. But I got to tell you, I'm very excited. I'm excited to open it. I'm excited to, connect those two portions of my life, and I think that that's going to go a long way for the start of this trading card game. But if you stuck around this long, you get a little mini bonus. It's about more than that. You can't just connect with somebody on the IP of a trading card game and then not nurture and care for the trading card game. We will find out quickly if Riot Games and any subsequent companies working on this card game really care about the game, because while League of Legends might pull us into Riftbound to begin with, we always have League of Legends itself to fall back on. And for that reason, if the TCG doesn't hit, if it doesn't form these bonds that we're talking about all through this video, it's not something we actually care about and have fun playing, we will drop it and move on to the next thing. All in all, I'm excited. I can't wait. I will put a video down here when I first looked at Riftbound, and you can see if my thoughts matched up a couple months ago. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time, you all know me. My name is Josh, and we'll see you around. All right, goodbye.